Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. My pranams to Srimad Swami Shantatmanji Maharaj for giving me this opportunity to be with you all during the spiritual retreat. Other Swamis who are here, Swami Sarvasthanji, Swami Atmajnananda, Brahmachari Kumar, and dear devotees. The topic for me today is Sadhana according to Jnana Marg. Yesterday we have seen about Sadhana according to Bhakti Marga. As I said yesterday, it's the same Supreme who is looked upon as the Ishta Devata by the devotee. The devotee approaches the same Supreme and tries to see the Supreme, that Ishta Devata, in all beings. As Shri Krishna has told in the Bhagavad Gita, Aham Atma Gudakesha Sarva Bhuta Ashaya Sthitaha. He is the same divine element is there in all beings, and the devotee tries to superimpose or imagine the deity in every person he encounters, he meets, and tries to see the divine in that and adore the divine through service, through karma, through seva, whatever way. Now, this question was raised yesterday. Are we not imagining things during our meditation, during our sadhana? Then how does it help in our sadhana? And Maharaj has already told you this morning that today's imagination is tomorrow's realization. What we imagine today is going to be the fact tomorrow, reality tomorrow. Now there's a beautiful incident in the life of Swami Vivekananda. When Swami Vivekananda was in the West talking about Vedanta, giving talks about Vedanta to the Western people, one day when he was in the lecture, in a similar question answer session, one lady got up and said, Swami, what you have taught us is hypnotism. You are teaching us to imagine, repeatedly say that I am the divine, I am the Atman, I am Shiva, and whereas in real we are identified with our body. This is hypnotization. Swamiji said, Madam, I am teaching you to dehypnotize yourself. You are already hypnotized to thinking that you are the body. You are a limited being. You are a lady. You are born in such and such a place. I am trying to teach you to get rid of all these hypnotizations and identify yourself with your true nature. Swarupa Dhyanam. Isn't it? To you go back to your true nature, that I am that Satchidananda Swarupa, I am that unlimited supreme being, thinking myself to be limited, born in a particular place, limited to certain circumstance, or encountering problems. So what we are doing is trying to dehypnotize ourselves, remove all these adhyasas, things which we have imagined, layers of identification which we have on ourselves. You go on removing these layers through your meditation, through your sadhana, through your vichara. So this is what Swami Vivekananda says. And you know that famous hymn which Sri Shankaracharya has composed, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham Mano Buddhya Hankara Chittani Naham. I am not the mind, I am not the body, I am not limited to it. It does not mean that I am denying it at a go. I can't do it. So repeatedly I go on saying, no, I'm not just this. There is some higher dimension to my personality. There is something more in my personality. A higher dimension. As Swami Ranganathan used to say, there is a higher dimension. Try to find out the higher dimension. So when you tap that higher potential within you, you deny your limited existence. You don't deny your body. You don't deny that you have a mind. Only you try to go beyond these limited faculties and try to find the inner source of your personality. So this is what is Jnana. What is Jnana Marga? Jnana Marga does not involve rituals, does not involve worship. It can be done wherever you want, because it involves your thinking, your identification with your essential nature. Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka. This Viveka can be done wherever you are, isn't it? Sitting here or walking or in the kitchen or in your workplace, wherever you want. You don't need a specific place to sit and do vichara. Vichara is something that happens constantly in your mind. We are thinking constantly. Our mind is always engaged in thoughts. But then you have to redirect those thoughts into finding what you want. Not thoughts about the world, not thoughts about your office and other things, but trying to find out the person who is thinking. Who is it that who is thinking? What is it that I am thinking? What is the source of my process of thinking? Trying to, as Maharaj said, trying to find catch the subject, isn't it, behind all perceptions. Like that great sage, Ramana Maharshi, whenever somebody used to come to him with questions and ask a question, he would say, who is asking this question? Try to find out who is asking this question. He was trying to redirect the person to look within, to go within and find the observer, find the person, the subject of the question. So Ramana Maharshi never initiated anybody. He never had any followers. And then when somebody asked him, you should have a follower, you should have a successor so that this tradition continues, he would say, I don't see any difference. How do I initiate somebody when I don't see somebody different from me? I see the same self in all. So this is the level to which a jnani or a person with realization can go. And this is the ideal of jnana, to get rid of all differences, to go beyond all differences. Neha nana asti kinchana, the Upanishad says. There is nothing that is separate from you. There is no two. There is only one. So when there is no two, how do I give initiation? How do I create a successor? That was the question that Ramana Maharshi asked. So according to Jnana Marga, you have, somebody asked about this yesterday, the Sadhana Chatushtaya, isn't it? So the 4 steps that are prescribed are Nitya, Anitya, Vastu, Viveka. What is this Nitya and Anitya? That which is temporary, that which is permanent. That which is Trikala Abhadita, that which can continue, which is the same, unchanging reality in all 3 states of existence, the waking state, the dreaming state, and the sleep state. That is Nitya. That does not undergo any change. That is the observer, the eternal self within every being. Or you can take it as that which does not change in space, time, causation, past, present, or future. That which was, that which is, and that which will be in the future. So this is Nitya. That which does not need something else to prove its existence. Whereas anything that is observed by the senses, which is experienced by the senses, needs corroboration from other senses, isn't it? I see something through my eyes, which is a sense organ, but then that information has to go to the brain has to say, yes, this is this, based on memory. Another sense organ is corroborating that. It's not a direct perception. It's a paroksha anubhuti, a mediated perception. Whereas perceiving yourself, the self within you, your existence, your essence, that is aparoksha anubhuti. That does not need any mediation. It's a direct experience. That is why Sri Ramakrishna told Naren when he came, I see you more clearly than I see objects. Have you seen God? Yes, I have seen God. I see Him, I perceive Him more clearly than I see you. That's the answer that Sri Ramakrishna gave. Aparoksha anubhuti. So this nitya, anitya, vastu viveka. Viveka is the vichara, this thinking process which goes on distinguishing. Oh no, this is something which is temporary, which does not last. And anitya. This gives you discrimination, this gives you vairagya. From nitya, nitya, anistya, vastu viveka comes vairagya. Detachment for things which are temporary. So unless you have this vichara, vairagya does not come. Because you get attached to objects which give you even the least pleasure. That's the natural state of the mind. So attachment, to get rid of attachment to body, to mind, to thoughts, to my own ideas. You see, it may be easy to get rid of attachment to the body. More or less it's possible, quite easy. But then how do you get detached from your own thoughts, your ego, your likings, your individuality? That's very difficult, it's very subtle. So my ideas, I hold on to my ideas, I hold on to my likes. I don't want people to disregard me or take away my ideas. Oh, no, this is what I thought. When you make a patent, you have royalties over it, isn't it? So that is a more subtle thing, to get rid of attachment to your own ideas, your pet ideas, your thoughts, your likings, your desires. Then comes your ego. That's much more difficult. The slightest hurt to the ego and you immediately get disturbed. Then comes your individuality, you as a personality. All these, you see, that is why Shankaracharya said, Shivoham, Shivoham. Swamiji also says in one place, go on telling yourself repeatedly that you are Shiva, not just this body, not just this mind. I am reminded of a beautiful joke that I read long back. A disciple comes and asks the Guru. He is a G20 modern day disciple of this millennium. He tells, Guru, is it possible for me, a spiritual seeker, to use email? The Guru says, yes, without attachment. So that's a beautiful thing. And another beautiful incident which I remember is connected to Swami Gambhirananji Maharaj, who was our president. Gambhirananji Maharaj was a man of few words. He was a very serious and silent person, a man of great realization. And probably it is Maharaj's sannyasa year or the other year. So after being blessed with sannyasa, these new sannyasins go to the Guru and get some clarifications or get some instructions about monastic life. So this group of new sannyasins came to revered Gambhiranji Maharaj and were sitting to hear his words of wisdom, to get some instructions from him. So one of the new sannyasins came up with a question. He said, Swami, we were blessed with Diksha mantra, the mantra that was given during initiation. And then after the training center, we were blessed with the Gayatri mantra. And then we had the Brahmacharya mantras. And then now you have given us the Sannyasa mantra. So many mantras. And all of them are supposed to be repeated, to be meditated upon. So where do we find time to do all this? How many things to do? What do we do? Which do we give importance? So, Gambhiraji gave a very classic, simple, short answer. He said the sannyasa mantras are not meant to be repeated, they are to be realized. Finished. They are for realization, not for repetition, like the japa of the Diksha mantra. So, this is the traditional view. The Guru tells Aham Brahmasmi or Tattvamasi, and the disciple is supposed to immediately rise to that level of realization. The Guru tells the mantra in the ear and the disciple immediately realizes. You see it in the life of Sri Ramakrishna. Totapuri told him the Mahavakya, and Sri Ramakrishna immediately, of course, he also, even a person like Sri Ramakrishna could not cut or go beyond the name and form of the Divine Mother. But then, once he could achieve that, he just merged into Samadhi, isn't it? That Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So that is the ideal that is told in the Vedanta tradition. When the Guru tells the Mahavakya, and immediately there is realization. This is seen in the life of Sureshwaracharya also, one of the four disciples of Sri Shankaracharya. He was a great practitioner of the Karmakanda of the Vedas, and he had mastered the Karmakanda of the Vedas, and his mind had attained such a level of purity because of this karmas that he had done. His mind was ready to get ignited, and when Sri Shankaracharya told him the Mahavakya, immediately his mind merged into that high state. So this has been the tradition. This Jnana Marga is about releasing the mind from all the bindings, isn't it, that it has accumulated over the years, samskaras. So the process is Swa-Swarupa Dhyana, Nitya Vastu Viveka, Iha Amutra Phala Bhoga Viragaha, or Vairagya, renunciation, detachment of desires of the world, Iha, that you experience, that you see, that attracts you. Amutra. Amutra means what? That which is not proximate to you, that which is there in the heavens. It's very easy to get rid of attachment to things of this world. Okay, I don't want this, I don't want that. I maybe go into seclusion, avoid things which will attract me, live a life of seclusion and avoid attractions. Yes, but what about attractions that are subtle, heavenly enjoyments? We think because we are not seeing them, we think we can get rid of them. But no, it's very subtle, very difficult to get rid of attraction for afterlife experiences. They are 1,000-fold stronger than the attractions of this world because they are subtle. They are enjoyed only in the mind. You don't have a physical body, gross body, to experience pleasures in the heavens. It is a mental level, 1,000 times stronger. Pains are also 1,000 times stronger. Suppose you have to suffer for the misdeeds that you have done. Those pains are also terrible. I mean, in the Puranas, it is pictured as being burnt in fire and all that. It's true because the psychological impact of that is severe. Similarly, the pleasures are unimaginable. It's very difficult to get rid of those attachments for afterlife enjoyments in heaven and all that. So, iha amutra phala bhoga viragaha, to be rid of this attachment to the results of your work. I want this, I want name, I want fame, I want this, I want that, I want pleasures of the heaven, I want to have a better life in the next life. That is also a desire. Let me be born in a better situation, let me be born in America, let me have more education, more popular, be the prime minister in my next life. All these are desires, subtle desires which are there in our mind. You see, I could not do this in this life, maybe in next life, or through my children. That is also another desire. You see, iha amutra phala bhoga viragaha. That is the next step. And then comes Shamadhi Shat Sampatti. Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha. These are the basic things that need to be inculcated in order to have clear vichara or viveka in the mind. So without these basic principles or values, Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, withdrawing the mind, withdrawing the sense organs from the objects of pleasure, the mind cannot be focused, the mind cannot be concentrated, there cannot be chitta vritti nirodha as put in the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. So this is a very important process. So now the first thing that we need to understand is anything that is born, anything that is put together, sanghata, anything that comes together disintegrates one day or the other. Anything that is born has to decay, isn't it? So the Shat Vikara, Jayate, Asti, Vardhate, Apakshiyate, that this we have to understand. So this is the nature of the body. Today I am keeping good health, but tomorrow something may happen and my body becomes weak. But if I can keep my mind alert, if I can keep my mind in a right condition, the thinking in right condition, so even if the body becomes weak, I can keep my vichara in the right direction. But then even the mind will become weak. It is a part of the body. It's a subtle organ, isn't it? So this you must be aware. These things happen. These are the natural course of things. I must go and identify myself with my Swarupa, which is Satchit Ananda, that which is beyond any destruction, any change, any transformation. So this Shamadhi Shat Sampatti. Of these, Shamadhi Shat Sampatti, most important are two, Titiksha and Shraddha. Patience, Titiksha, toleration, trying to endure, to hold on. See, not to be bothered by the changes that are happening around you, to your body, to your mind, to the conditions that are around you, to be steady. That is Titiksha. And Shraddha, to have intense faith. Sri Ramakrishna tells in the Gospel, the worm, the caterpillar, it stops all activity, goes into seclusion, builds a cocoon around itself and meditates that it wants to be a butterfly. It wants to be a butterfly. Shraddha, that it has the capacity to become a butterfly. So much of tapasya it does. It goes on meditating on that and soon it opens up into a butterfly. So this is vichara, or that nitya vastu viveka and shraddha. Then comes samadhana, you know all that, mumukshata, desire for liberation, desire for becoming free. So from what do you become free? From your binding to your own body, to your clinging to the body, to this world, and the problems that come from the world. Because the world has pleasure, pain, pleasure, both are there in this world. But we don't realize that these are a continuous process. We always have hope. We always think, oh, today I'm having a suffering, tomorrow I'll be okay. This hope is what keeps us going on in this life. But then this is an unending process. That is why Buddha said, Dukkham, Dukkham, Dukkham. This whole world is full of misery only. There is no happiness in this world. So-called happiness is only temporary, very short-lived. So even Shri Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that this world is full of misery. So this, when we realize, when this misery, when this difficult part of life touches us, pinches us, only then does that real viveka come. Till then, we are always deluding ourselves. Oh no, tomorrow will be happier. My life will become better tomorrow. This is a delusion. This is an imagination that we go on holding on to. So this is Jnana Marga, Vichara, and you have so many ideas from Viveka Chudamani and Bhagavad Gita, where Sri Shankaracharya and Sri Krishna tell us about the process of sadhana in Jnana Marga. So in Viveka Chudamani, Sri Shankaracharya says a beautiful idea here. Lakshye brahmani manasam dridataram samsthapya bahyendriyam. He gives the entire process very detailed in the verse number 377. What is meditation? What is the process of meditation according to Jnana? He says the goal or the lakshya, the point to be reached, has to be fixed as the Supreme Brahman. And with steady mind, you have to approach this Supreme Brahman by withdrawing your senses and your mind from all these external perceptions. Swasthane viniveshya pratyahara, to put the senses back, to turn the senses inward. This is a very difficult process, but this is a process that is prescribed even in the Upanishads. It needs courage. That is why the Upanishad says, Kaschit dhiraha pratyagatmanam aikshat avritta chakshuhu amritatvam icchan. So only the bold, only the courageous, only those who are strong in their mind can withdraw the senses from the external world and turn it inwards. So this meditation or the process, spiritual life of the spiritual journey is not something for the weakling. Shurasya dhara nishita duratyaya durgam pathastat kavayo vadanti. It is like walking on the razor's edge. Any moment you get tempted and you go again towards the world. And once you give your mind to the world, it simply gets polluted. It just gets absorbed. It's difficult to withdraw that mind back. That is all. The world is not wrong, but the mind takes the color of the world. It is so soft, it becomes so fragile that it gets disturbed. And once that thought, worldly thought, comes in the mind, it is difficult to remove that thought from the mind. It generates again and again thoughts of the world. So, Chittavritti Nirodha comes only when there is dispassion, only when there is aversion for anything that is belonging to the world. So here, Swasthane viniveshya nischala tanuscha upeksha dehasthitim. You have to forget your body. You have to forget the problems of the body. Oh, I have a pain here, I cannot sit. I mean, that was what he discussed. So somebody has a pain in the back and so, okay, I will sleep today, I will not meditate. No, you have to hold on to your routine. Irrespective of the physical problems or the troubles that are there. And this steadiness, this practice takes you in your spiritual journey. That's most important. And he tells a beautiful idea here in the last line, Brahmanandarasam piba. Enjoy the rasa or the joy of that supreme experience of Brahmananda. The devotee also enjoys the bliss of contemplating on the Lord. Through Kirtana, Shravana, Manana, Kirtana, the devotee has that joyful experience when he sings, when he abandons himself in singing the glories of the Lord. So that's a more concrete experience. He has company, he has sadhu sangha, satsanga, he goes on pilgrimages, enjoys the company of the devotees, talks about his chosen deity, sings his glory. That is a different type of ananda rasa. The jnani also, by looking within, by experiencing the self within himself, he experiences the same type of joy, but it's not given to sharing it with others. It is within himself. There is a fountain of joy within. So Swami was also referring to that from the Taittiriya Upanishad, you see, where Brahman is described as Ananda. So that Ananda, that fountain of joy, is within our own hearts. All the pleasure, all the joy that we get from worldly objects is only a reflection of this joy which is there within our own hearts. But once we tap this joy within ourselves, all these other things become insipid. This joy, you don't find any joy in the external world. So, here, and then Shankaracharya in the next verse he says, Anatmachintanam tyaktva. Give up thinking about things which do not belong to the Supreme, to the world or whatever it is. Okay? You should hold your mind only on the Supreme and then forget about things which deviate from that. This is very important, you see, to have a fixed objective in your life, to fix your mind on that, not to deviate from that. Like Sri Ramakrishna used to say, if you want to thread the needle, you have to have the thread in a fine point. If there is even one single fiber sticking out, the thread will not pass through the eye of the needle. So that is one-pointed devotion, one-pointed, fixed, focused. So that is what he is saying here. Anatma chintanam tyaktva kashmalam dukkha karanam. Kashmalam, dirt or pollution. So if the mind gets polluted by worldly perceptions, worldly thoughts, it becomes troubled. Dukkha karanam. It leads to dukkha. So therefore you have to have one-pointed mind. Chintaya atmanam anandarupam yat mukti karanam. That which liberates you. Chintaya. Think of that Chidananda, the Swarupa, which can give you liberation, which can give you eternal joy. And Sri Krishna says the same thing in the Bhagavad Gita. Yunjannevam sadatmanam yogi vigata kalmashaha sukhena brahma samsparsham atyantam sukhamashnute. So once the aspirant, the sadhaka, realizes the Supreme Brahman within himself, he attains to supreme bliss, which is not attainable through any worldly process. So yunjanevam, once you connect yourself to yourself, yogi, the man with concentration, the man who has a focused approach, vigata kalmashaha, removed of all worldly dross, worldly afflictions, sukhena, he joins or he becomes one with that Supreme Brahman in supreme bliss. So this is the Jnana Marg according to what Sri Ramakrishna and our Swami Vivekananda have given us. Swami Sarvasthanji was referring to the worship of Swami Vivekananda, how it was not given to formal worship. There is a beautiful incident in Belur. Swami Vivekananda said he would do the worship of Sri Ramakrishna in the old shrine that is there in Belur one day. And he just made all the disciples who were sitting there and meditating with him, he took those flowers and started keeping one flower on the head of each of the disciple. So the disciple thought, what is Swamiji doing? Why is he worshipping us? But you see, Swami Vivekananda had reached such a wonderful level of spiritual attainment. He was perceiving the Supreme, he was perceiving Sri Ramakrishna or the Supreme in every disciple, in everybody. So he was worshipping the same Supreme in every disciple. That is the ultimate level where a jnani can reach, seeing the same Supreme, seeing the same reflection of the Supreme in every creature, irrespective of caste, creed or birth or race or whatever it is. That is the level which Swami Vivekananda reached, Sri Ramakrishna also reached. Sri Ramakrishna, when he had that experience of the Supreme Consciousness, the description is there in Leela Prasanga, in the divine play or the great master. Sri Ramakrishna says he saw everything as floating in one ocean of consciousness. The vessels, the puja vessels, the image of Mother Kali, everything was in one ocean of consciousness. There was no difference at all. All the differences had gone. I'm reminded of a beautiful story, you see, which comes in the Upanishads also. So, the wave, when you go to see the ocean, there are waves in the ocean. The wave has no essence of its own. It has no particular existence of its own. It is just a temporary shape that is appearing on the waters, isn't it? So it comes in different sizes, a big wave, a small wave, comes and then again merges back into the ocean. You cannot say, get me a wave. Suppose you are standing there and you have somebody, you can say, can you bring a wave? No, nobody can bring a wave. You can only bring water. It has no existence. So similarly, our individual existence, this name, form, this attachment to body or our personality is only a temporary phase which has no permanent existence. Our permanent existence is as the Supreme or the Satchidananda Brahman. There is a beautiful parable. One day when there was rain, these water droplets were falling. One of the water drops suddenly told the other water drop, oh, what will happen to me when I fall into the ocean? The other drop said, why? You will become one with the ocean. Then this drop said, oh, then will I die? Will I lose my individuality? The other drop said, that was an intelligent one, that said, no, you don't lose your individuality. You expand your individuality to become one with the ocean, the entire ocean. You identify yourself with the whole ocean. So this is Jnana, Marga, expansion to unlimited existence. Swami Vivekananda defines the human and the divine, God. He says the human being is a circle with infinite dimensions, circumference reaching to the infinite, but center in one point, I and mine, my body, my family, my personality, my individuality, always trying to focus on oneself, the selfish person. Whereas God or the divine is also a circle with infinite circumference, with no end to the circumference, but center in every individual. There is no selfishness there. That is why Swamiji said the difference between God and man or the human is between unselfishness and selfishness. When we are selfish, when we hold on, when we cling to our own personalities, we become more and more limited. When we are able to identify with the universal, with the expansive, Brihat, the word Brahman comes from that word, Brihat, that which is expansive, that which is infinite. So when you identify with that infinite, when you always tell yourself, I am not just limited to this body dimension or to my thinking, my thoughts, my ideas, I am one with that Supreme, then you rise beyond your own limitations. This is one easy way by which we can overcome our limitations, isn't it? Yes, as human beings, as persons who are born, we do have our limitations. But still, if I can emphasize the divine aspect within me, I'll be able to overcome these limitations today or tomorrow, isn't it? So this is Jnana Marga. I am grateful to Maharaj for giving me, there's still a lot of time. Oh. So do you have questions? Yeah. Yeah, you see, in Jnana Marga, as Sri Shankaracharya and others emphasize, there is nothing to attain, it is only to realize. You have heard of these examples. You see, a person was worrying that he has lost the necklace. He was searching for the necklace. Somebody who saw him said, "Oh, no, you are wearing the necklace." So he had to just realize that it is there already. He was searching for it outside. So that is jnana, to find that you already have that. Your swaswarupa dhyana, as I said earlier. Yeah, please.
प्रणाम महाराज जी। मेरा डाउट है, क्वेश्चन तो नहीं है। डाउट ये है कि I the self experiences everything of the world or universe through our senses, or rather I the self
ऐसे बोलिए। हाँ,
रेदर देन अगर ज़्यादा उसमें सोचते हैं तो ये रिजल्ट आता है। थोड़ा हिंदी में हमें अच्छा लगता है बोलने में, अंग्रेजी आती नहीं महाराज जी।
बताइए बताइए।
तो वो आई द सेल्फ इट सेल्फ हैज़ बिकम द यूनिवर्स। तो अभी जैसे बोल रहे थे कि जो पूजा का होता है वो थाल वगैरह वो सारा कुछ कॉन्शियसनेस मतलब उस टाइम पे दिखता है, महसूस होता है। तो किसको एक्सपीरियंस होता है? आई द सेल्फ को, थ्रू आवर सेंसेस। लेकिन अब डाउट ये है कि जब वन विद ऑलमाइटी के साथ हो गया कोई ब्रह्मनिष्ठ होके, तो उसके सेंसेस तो ड्रॉप हो जाते हैं। तो हाउ द ब्लिस एक्सपीरियंसेस द ब्लिस, आर कॉन्शियसनेस एक्सपीरियंसेस द कॉन्शियसनेस, आर existence experiences the existence.
Okay,
that is my doubt.
Okay. You see, all experiences that are through the senses are limited experiences. When the mind reaches that pure state, that pure level, when it can grasp the infinite, when that Brahmakara vritti, that vritti or the thought of the Supreme can manifest in this mind. The same mind actually develops the capacity to have that Brahmakara vritti, which has been thinking of all these sense objects, limited existence. This rises itself or becomes more and more pure and infinite to develop the capacity to have that Brahmakara vritti. So that is why in the Shastras it is said, Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho. It is the same mind which can bind you or liberate you. It is the same mind which thinks about sense objects or the Supreme. The mind develops that capacity. By this sadhana, it becomes more and more fine till it reaches that level where it can grasp the Supreme. Like you see, if you have a physical wire, you cannot transmit 1000 volts in the wire. It will have a fuse, it will burn. Whereas when there is capacity, when you build the capacity of that wire, fuse the wires together and build the capacity of the wire, you will be able to pass stronger currents through the wire. So it is the same mind which experiences all physical things and at the same time the Supreme. Only the mind reaches that level by the grace of God, by the grace of sadhana, by the sadhana, intensity of sadhana. Okay? Nahin. माइंड मर्ज हो जाता है। हाँ, तो फिर कौन बताएगा ना? उस एक्सपीरियंस के समय, उसके एक्सपीरियंस के बाद आप वापस आके बताएंगे क्या?
नहीं प्रजापति जी, आप अब तक पहले पहुंचे ना, उसके बाद देखते हैं। अभी आप इसके लिए आप इतना क्यों चिंता करते हैं बाद में क्या होगा? अभी आप उतना तक जाइए ना।
इसलिए श्री रामकृष्ण गिव्स दैट ब्यूटीफुल पैराबल। हाँ, श्री रामकृष्ण ने एक अच्छा उदाहरण दिया। तो एक नून का पुतुल था ना, देयर वाज अ सॉल्ट डॉल which thought I will go and measure the ocean. तो उसने गया पानी में, जब अंदर चला गया तो पूरा
खत्म हो गया,
मर्ज हो गया। तो फिर कौन वापस आएगा और बताएगा कि कितना गहरा है?
प्रजापति जी, इसके बारे में ना शास्त्र में बहुत ही चर्चा है। वो जीवन मुक्त पुरुष कैसे रहते हैं, जो जिनका पूर्ण ज्ञान प्राप्त हो गया, उसके बाद क्या है, मन तो नहीं रहेगा। ये आपका प्रश्न है ना,
Yes.
क्या होगा। लेकिन इस साधारण के 2-3 तरीके इसकी जवाब है। एक है, ऐसा व्यक्ति का तुरंत शरीर चला जाएगा,
चला जाता है।
क्योंकि आपके पूर्ण ज्ञान प्राप्त होने के बाद कुछ मिलने का नहीं रहेगा। हम लोग क्यों रहते हैं, क्योंकि बहुत कुछ हम लोग का अपूर्ण वासना है, यही मिलना है, वही मिलना है, यही चाहिए, वही चाहिए। मान लीजिए सब कुछ हो गया, ऐसा व्यक्ति का कुछ प्राप्त करने का कुछ भी नहीं रहेगा, तुरंत साधारण से साधारण शरीर चले ही जाएगा। लेकिन विशेष कोई ऐसे कोई व्यक्ति हो, उनका धरती पे जगत में दूसरी के कल्याण में कुछ काम करना है, वो रहता है। ठाकुर में कहते हैं, शंकराचार्य अपने ज्ञान का वही रखा था। दी अविद्या ऑफ नॉलेज, ज्ञान का एक तरह आप बोल ही सकते हैं अज्ञान, वही आप रखे थे। क्यों? दूसरी की समझाने के लिए, दूसरी की सहायता करने के लिए, सेवा करने के लिए। नहीं तो ठाकुर क्यों रहा इतना निर्विकल्प समाधि के बाद? स्वयं माँ उनके 3 बार बताया, तुम भावमुख में रहो, तब वो रह पाए। इसीलिए आप विशेष ऐसे कोई आधिकारिक पुरुष हो, आप रह सकते हैं, नहीं तो आपका शरीर चला जाएगा। आप शरीर रखना चाहते तो ज्ञान प्राप्त मत करो, ज्ञान हो जाए तो। लेकिन ज्ञान एक बार हो जाए, आपका जीवन में कुछ भी अपूर्ण नहीं रहेगा। ऐसा आप तृप्तोसी, स्तब्धोसी, सब नारदीय भक्ति बहुत सारी भाषा में कहा गया। आप ऐसा स्थिति प्राप्त करेंगे, वही क्षण में आपका ये धरती में जीवन में कुछ भी मेरा मिलना नहीं है, ये शरीर रखना बिल्कुल बेकार है।
Yes.
ऐसा अनुभव हो जाए, आप शरीर छोड़ जाएंगे।
ब्रह्म, तो इसलिए शास्त्र कहते हैं ब्रह्मविद ब्रह्म ही वो भवति। Once he realizes the supreme, he becomes one with the infinite. Yeah.
Pranam Maharaj, I want to ask, like I am quite old by now, so I do realize that our body, mind, and all the powers and Aishwarya जो भी है जिंदगी में थोड़ा बहुत, it is not running on, it is running on some other power, some divine power. It is not ours. But still, I find this ego in the form of self-consciousness, but self-conscious self. It keeps popping up from time to time, and sometimes I can watch it and maybe laugh at it also at times, but it still keeps coming up. So then, how to actually, what to do so that it doesn't come up? Also, I have a second question. I've also found that, like, whatever little one does, like, you do feel that the world is, mithya, yeah, it's meaningless, yeah, jo bhi hai. But sometimes meaningless.
Okay, let me answer the first question.
Okay.
Because it will be difficult for me to remember. So, ego is not bad. Without ego, it's not possible to live as a human being. Ego is essential. Sense of ego is essential. But see that it does not rise beyond the good state. Only I, not others. Don't put your ego in front of everything. A healthy ego, a ripe ego, as Sri Ramkrishna says, Pakami. I am a devotee of the Lord. I am here to serve others. This type of ego is good, but not a selfish ego. Ego is not bad. Only you must know how to use the ego, chastise the ego to a useful personality. Okay. What was the second question? I couldn't get the second question.
The second question was that, with age or whatever, with a little bit of practice, maybe one does realize that there is not much meaning in all the worldly things that we are doing. And there is a lot of loss of interest in a lot of everyday things. I don't feel the need to talk to people, etc. Not that I don't love people, but I don't feel the need. So, as a person living in the world, as a householder, you may say, so I feel that we are setting up a bad example. Like in Thakur's Kathamrita, it is written that people who are not belonging to any ashram, and they set a bad example for others.
Sit down.
So I'm concerned.
Yeah, sit down. You see, because of sadhana, you are trying to always tell your mind that this is not permanent, this is not true, this is not something which will last, and so you will naturally develop some detachment. But Sri Ramkrishna says in the Gospel, you must live like a housemaid. Yeah, they don't belong to me permanently. I am here, the Lord has kept me here to serve them. See the Lord in them. This is not my family, this is the Lord's family. Okay. Try to see the Lord, try to see your Ishtadevata in your family, in your people. Be good to them, serve them, have all good relation with them. There's absolutely nothing wrong in that. But at the same time, you must know that they are not yours, that you do not belong to them permanently, temporarily. God, it is the same Supreme Brahman seen through the loving eyes of the devotee that takes the form of a God or Ishtadevata. It's the same Supreme Brahman. The approaches are different. You see the same Supreme Brahman, Sachidananda, through your love, through your devotion, and approach it as Krishna, Rama, Shiva, or whatever it is. So the Jnani sees the Supreme Brahman as manifest in this entire universe, Tat Srishtva, Tadeva Anupravishat, whatever it is. And the devotee sees the consciousness within each person as that Ishtadevata only. There is no difference in the approach. It is only the way of seeing it, that's all. Like, to give another example, you take different vessels or pots of different sizes and put them to reflect the sun with water in them. So the sun is reflected equally in all those pots. Maybe the pots are different sizes and all that. And when you break the pot, all that reflection goes back to the sun. It just merges back into the sun. It's the same thing. Appearing as different, but at the same time, it's the same thing. One appearing as many, as Swami Ashokanji has written that book. Yeah, I think, yes. She also had a question.
Pranam Swamiji.
Yes.
Like in an ocean, you have the salinity differing in various parts. In the
No,
ocean,
the entire ocean is saline.
but the salinity level varies.
Yeah.
In various parts of the world, it varies. Okay. Like in the ocean of consciousness, each of the conscious beings, is the level of consciousness different, and does the sadhana there to...
Sit down, sit down. The level of consciousness in Sri Ramakrishna must be more intense than in our people, ordinary people. So yes, there may be whirlpools, stronger points where it is more manifest. That is all. In the level of consciousness in Swami Vivekananda, Holy Mother, definitely it must have been more intense. That is why they could impart spirituality. Sri Ramakrishna could impart spirituality just by seeing, by touching.
See, if you take it, if you take it as consciousness, it is one only.
Yes,
the manifestation is, if you take saltness is only one. The manifestation of saltness will be more somewhere different. But if you take it, the intrinsically, the quality of being salty, that is one and the same.
That's one and the same.
So consciousness is one and the same. The way it is manifested in terms of power, then that is different. So originally that way, if you take the salt water also, the saltiness is different. Saltiness is one only. How it is felt in terms of its manifestation may be
different. Yeah. Your question last, probably.
Pranam. Maharaj, it was very interesting what you said before this about knowledge, and so it brings me to, I'll wear my specs so
Yeah.
don't take up much time.
She quickly writes.
So when knowledge reveals ignorance, ignorance we'll assume dissolves. So the knowledge was about the ignorance, so the knowledge also dissolves. So
No.
we then are to go beyond knowledge, and is that what is the Hiranyapatra?
No, wait. When knowledge happens, or when there is knowledge, ignorance goes once for all. Knowledge does not go. It is because of that knowledge that the ignorance has gone. Darkness has gone. Darkness has no existence of its own. It is lack of light that is called darkness. As soon as light enters a room, Sri Ramakrishna tells this. As soon as light enters a room which has been dark for thousands of years, all the darkness goes once for all. It doesn't take time to go. You live in that knowledge. That knowledge assumes everything.
Which brings me to yesterday's question that came up, that when the room is lit, when knowledge, so we do Shravana and Manana, and we gain the knowledge,
Yeah.
but that knowledge is about the veil and the projection, it is about the ignorance.
No.
Is knowledge, does ignorance go, or is ignorance illuminated?
Ignorance goes. Ignorance has no ultimate existence. It does not have a positive existence. It's a negative thing.
But the
La-
stage of nididhyasa is because now that we know and we have identified the snake, we have identified
the snake was never there.
Yes. So because we have identified the ignorance, then we do the nididhyasa to overcome the patterns
No.
that remain
Wait.
in us.
In that example, it's a beautiful example, very clear. The rope is there because of the darkness, because of your fear of the snake. You see the snake in the rope. The snake was never there. Only the rope is there. As soon as the light is brought, once you realize that it is not a snake, it is a rope, the idea of snake completely vanishes. You perceive the rope as it is. Reality comes into existence. You become one with that reality, the knowledge of reality. Ignorance vanishes. Ignorance is not there. It does not have an existence itself. Only
So-
the reality takes